Welcome to Speak Out, Election Speak Out. My name is Stuart Strachan. I'm pleased to introduce to you Mario Palmero. He is running for the Gresham City Council, first seat position. His background includes Mount Hood Community College, transferring to Portland State where he got a degree in political science. He's done over 7 years of community service here in Gresham, including SMART program, Habitat for Humanity, Rockwood Weed and Seed, and 6 years of tax preparation for AARP. Welcome, Mario.
Thank you. My name is Mario Palmero, and I am running for Gresham City Council, seat position 1. I feel that Gresham has come to a very important time in its history. The people we choose to elect on November 6th to represent Gresham will have a tremendous impact on Gresham's future urban and economic development. Now, what I want to do is build bridges between City Hall and our diverse community. I want people to have a seat at the table. I want people to be involved in the development and process and the application of every economic and urban development plan we have. I also want people to take a bigger role in community policing and use the tools we have now for policing, but with a more community-based approach.
When you say you want to bring more people into the police accountability and the police or the safety, public safety, how do you propose on doing that?
Well, Gresham is unique, different from the other major cities in Oregon. For example, Oregon City, Beaverton, and Portland. We have two very distinct things going for us in the city. You know, the first is the high content or high volume of blue collar workers, middle class people, and also a rich, diverse community. In order for our public safety to get better, and we have to understand that the middle class understands the relationship between crime and property value, and the importance of personal property. So if we can get, you know, the Russian, the Asian, the Hispanic, the Greek, the Italian communities involved in community neighborhoods and community watch, I think that will make a great difference in our public safety. And I want to make it clear that police officers alone cannot deter crime, but a community can. So I want to get the community involved in that process.
What about police accountability and in the bringing the community policing into that?
Well, what I mean by using the current tools that we have now for community policing, for example, we're having a budget crisis in Gresham. There's talk in regards to the non-emergency phone calls, which calls we should or should not respond to. And what I want to do is work on that and work with the city manager, city mayor, and the council to have any person or any person in the neighborhood watch association that calls the non-emergency phone number to respond to that phone call. So if you are a person in the neighborhood and you have a lot of traffic coming in and out of your home, and you have somebody in your neighborhood involved in the neighborhood watch association, and they call the city, you better believe we're going to be knocking on your door. And if you keep doing it, we're going to keep knocking on your door. That's what I mean by that. In regards to the urban development, now, Gresham is Oregon's best kept secret. And I also want to talk about, and I know a lot of people are inundated with flyers, political flyers, and politicians saying, I can create jobs.
I'll be glad when this election season's over.
Well, politicians don't create jobs. What we simply do is provide the resources, the tools, and the infrastructure for entrepreneurs, inventors, so they can create the jobs. So if we do our job well, we give them the tools to succeed. Then if they do well, the community does well. So right now, what we're looking at is the West Rockwood Urban Development Plan. Now, if you live in Rockwood, if you want to open a business in Rockwood, or you have a business in Rockwood, please come down to City Hall, express your ideas, however small, however big. Together, we can do this in a cost-effective and efficient way. And that's what and that's how we're going to create jobs. That's how we're going to turn things around. That's how we're going to raise the property values in Gresham. If you're looking to buy a house and you want to buy it at a low price, come to Gresham, buy in Gresham, invest in Gresham, because 2 to 4 years from now, we're going to turn this around. Property values will go up. That's what I plan to do, and with the help of the city council, mayor, and the city manager. So yes, that's my plan.
Do you want to elaborate any further on your plans with the urban development and the economic development?
Well, I just feel that we have an important opportunity, and a very unique opportunity to develop Rockwood. We can make Saturday Market downtown look like, or pale in comparison what we can create here in Gresham. And if anyone has any ideas or has any concerns, it doesn't matter what language you speak. City Hall is more than just a building by a MAX station. It's a public institution, and it's here to serve you. So please come to City Hall, voice your opinions. Hopefully I will be there, and hopefully we can get this going.
That kind of touches on some of the hot button issues that Gresham are facing right now, including the redistricting. Now, as I understand it, the idea is to create districts within Gresham, voting districts, where people who perhaps are not being represented or underrepresented would have more of an opportunity for representative democracy. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe it's now a measure that is going to be proposed to the citizens of Gresham. I believe, when I chose to run for city council, I felt that Rockwood's interest was not being represented as well. I mean, they were doing a great job, but when I felt that I needed to get involved, everyone at City Hall was very open, kind. They were very informative. In no way did I feel the democratic process was thwarted to me. If I did, I would be for this districting of Gresham. At this point, I'm not open to any arguments against it, but at this point, I am with the status quo. I don't believe there's an issue there. I believe if you want to represent your community and have strong feelings to represent your community, you can do it. You can fill out the paperwork, and it's open to everyone in
But you're not opposed to any opposing ideas regarding that? You're open to them?
I am open to them. But at this point, I did not feel there was any thwarting of the democratic process in regards to me running for a city office.
Okay, moving on. We have always a fun topic, taxes.
Oh,
the
fun.
$750 proposal for taxes, I believe it would go toward the water bill, and it would be applied toward the fire and police department.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I was misquoted previously in the newspaper article. The water bill is the only public utility that is not funded. In other words, if you are behind on your electricity bill and your gas bill, you can seek community assistance. However, with the water, there is no assistance. So I do support finding different means of getting revenue, but the water bill is not. We have a population a big population in Gresham that lives on a set income. Increasing them $7.50 is just not a good idea. I don't want our citizens, our senior citizens that are depending on Social Security to make a choice between paying for the medications or paying for the water bill, since there is no assistance for water bill. So, or the middle class. We have a big middle class. They've been taking it on the chin from the beginning of this recession. They make too much to get any public help or public assistance, and they're coming out of pocket with many of the costs that the city needs to maintain its
So you're not
service.
opposed really to the tax, it's just the way it's being proposed?
Yes, not on the water bill. Now, I support the police department. I support every frontline staff at Gresham City Hall. They use this word lean. What that means is the people at the workers at City Hall, Gresham City Hall, are working twice as hard, and the service level they provide to us is incredible. So when we get out of this situation, this recession, which we will get out of this recession, I think they need to be rewarded. I do support our police officers and our fire department, but we need to find a different way to gather revenue.
Okay, Mario, we are running out of time quickly, so
Yeah.
do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I'd like to thank MetroEast Community Television for giving me the opportunity to speak to the Gresham citizens and East Multnomah County citizens. And I am running for Gresham City Council Position 1.
Thank you. Thank you, Metro East Community Media. Wonderful service you provide. Thank you. And thank you, viewers, for watching. Be sure to vote this upcoming election. Thank
November
you.
6th.
November
Thank you so
6th.
much, Stuart. All right.
Voting is a big deal and one of the most powerful things you can do. But deep down, people vote because
I vote for my family.
I vote because every voice does matter.
Because my grandmother couldn't.
Because democracy only works if you participate.
I vote because if I want my voice to be heard, the first thing I must do is vote.
I vote for more bike lanes.
For cleaner streams.
For more jobs.
For the future of the arts.
I vote because I want to say where my tax dollars go.
Because of all the women who ensure my right to vote.
Because I did last year.
Because it's easy.
I vote because it's my civic duty.
And I vote because I can. Register, engage, vote. It's in your hands.
The League of Women Voters makes history.
Our country would not be the same without their dedication.
Formed by women who organized to win women the right to vote.
It is now a co-ed organization.
Studying, informing, and acting.
Nonpartisan.
Grassroots.
Influential.
Taking political stance on many issues.
The League of Women Voters encourages all citizens to be informed and active in government. Join the League of Women Voters of East Multnomah County in making history today.
Good evening and welcome to Election Speakout. My name is Marty McMahon and I'm here tonight with current Troutdale City Councilman and running for mayor, Doug Doust. And so Doug, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about why you're running.
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Marty. I have several reasons why I'm running for mayor right now. There's a lot of things that are lining up to be a good time for me to bring my talents and my skills to be the mayor of Troutdale. I want to move Troutdale to a more stable reputation, a more positive reputation, and I think I have the skills to do that. I want to get the city council focused again and focused on more positive things rather than the negative press we've been having recently with Mayor Kite. I want to put more energy into tourism and economic development, working with surrounding cities and the council to get that done. I already have relationships developed with developers that want to come in. So things are lining up to be real positive in the next 4 years. And we do need to replace the current mayor and move things more positive in the city of Troutdale, and I'm here to do that.
So that, and I just wanted to follow up on that a little bit, because you and I have talked, and I've asked you to run for mayor before. I know other people have. And so what's different this year than previous elections when you've been asked and you've actually turned it down?
Well, yeah, I went through that conversation 4 years ago with David Ritma, and David and I decided that David would run 4 years ago. But in the last 4 years, since then, I've had a lot of support from the surrounding mayors. And I do currently, to be mayor of Troutdale, I do have the support from Mayor Shane Bemis of Gresham, and Mayor Mike Weatherby from Fairview, and Patricia Smith from Wood Village. And I've also got the endorsement from Paul Tolliver, our former Troutdale mayor. So that relationship with the surrounding mayors, I think, was an important factor in getting me to move forward to be Troutdale's mayor, knowing that I have a positive working relationship with all the surrounding mayors.
And you know, I noticed that came through a little bit. We had a fundraiser dinner downtown, and I noticed a number of other community leaders, not just mayors, but some other elected officials from surrounding communities. Why is that important for Troutdale to have those kind of relationships with our surrounding communities?
Well, yeah, you're speaking of the Italian spaghetti fundraiser we had the other day. And it is true that Diane McKeel, the county commissioner, was there, and some of the surrounding mayors were there. Some of the surrounding city councilors from Gresham and Fairview and Wood Village were there additionally. And that says a lot. It says that they're willing to work with me not only in a business relationship, but also at a personal level. And so when you have those relationships developed at the personal level and the business level, things will flow smoothly in making decisions and helping each other out. Because what we want to do in Troutdale is not only focus on just Troutdale issues, but what we want to do is work with all the surrounding cities so that we make good decisions for all of East Metro. And that is an important part of being a mayor of a city.
Okay. Yeah. So now one of the bigger topics for Troutdale, for a small town, has been what are we going to do with the sewage treatment plant that when we built the new one. The other one hasn't been developed yet. And you and I have talked about this topic before. You know, this is one that's important to me anyway.
Yes.
And what are your ideas of what we can do to get that project moving?
Well, that's probably one of the things that's on the top of my list is the urban renewal area that the sewer treatment plant used to be on. And we do have a picture of a concept plan, if we could bring that up so the citizens and the people on TV know what I'm talking about. This is a concept plan that we have for the urban renewal area, and it's very exciting to have something to plan towards, because this is the first time since 2004 that we have really got the energy and impetus behind having something really happen here. And so what we're looking at is the distinct possibility to have a medium to small convention area where you would have a hotel and a restaurant, a really nice restaurant along the Sandy River, with a civic plaza, kind of a gathering spot for the citizens of Troutdale and visitors, a really nice pedestrian bicycle walking path along the Sandy River, that would be very inviting. A pier out to the river so people could actually go out on a pier. And in addition to that, the historic water tower would be maintained, and a water tower cafe would be placed right by it. And also retail shops would be added to the site, an additional multiple use, and a large enough hotel to to have the mid to small size conventions so that not all the conventions would have to look to going into Portland, but we would bring people out to Troutdale and work with McMinimans Edgefield to have kind of a convention center here in Troutdale. So thanks for putting that up, and that would give people a good vision for what we're talking about.
So real quickly, we've got some properties and some places on the north side of downtown, which would include the old police station, that you had some ideas of what you wanted to do to bring those along so they're more in line with the upgraded and downtown area.
Yeah, that's another thing high on my list to work on, is the south side of the downtown area. So we have a whole 2-block section that does need to be developed, including the burned out block that we're talking about. Well, adjacent to that then is the old city hall that's now vacant and the old police station that's now vacant. So we could offer a developer a real incentive package to combine the old city hall and the old police station, along with the idea of placing a new city hall in the center of a new development as kind of an anchor tenant where we would lease space from a developer. So it's pretty exciting to think that we could get the other side of the downtown Troutdale developed in a really nice multiple use public-private partnership where we would get a new city hall.
And would you want the new city hall to be in the urban renewal zone, or would you want it to be on that north or south side of the downtown? Or
good question. I imagine we will. Well, first of all, we're putting together a citizen committee to help us make decisions like that. So we're looking at inviting citizens to be involved with a brand new committee that will work through some of the decisions on where the city hall should be, how big it should be, whether it should be downtown or in the urban renewal area. My personal thought is it would be good to have it right downtown as an anchor tenant on the south side of the main street. But there are other options, of course. There is an option of putting in a separate bond out to build a brand new city hall, possibly close to the brand new police station we have. So there are numerous options.
Okay. So running out of time, just a couple minutes left.
Okay.
A lot of stuff you could go over with your history. You know, you and I talked about, I've known you now I think 12 or 14 years, somewhere in there. I see the plaque at the Imagination Station every time I take my kids up there because of all your work that you did to make that happen.
Yep.
And what else is it that you would like voters to know that maybe we didn't cover in these few minutes here?
Well, the way I see Troutdale is we have some real incredible opportunities in the next 4 years. There's these developments that I just talked about that are lining up to happen in the next 4 years. And with that vision that I have and with the passion that I have to get that stuff done, and with the support of the entire city council behind me, which I do have to be the next mayor, I think we can move stuff forward now. And that's what I'm so excited about to be the next mayor, is to move those things forward. And I'm really looking forward to being the next mayor of Troutdale.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add? We have about a minute left, or do you think you've covered it all?
Well, I would like to emphasize the fact that I do have the support of the entire city council to be the next mayor, along with all the surrounding mayors. And in fact, most of the elected officials in East County have expressed their support for me to be the mayor of Troutdale, and that says a lot. That's very important to me, to be in a position where I have so many people backing me to be the mayor of Troutdale.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Whatever you do on Election Day, make sure that you get out and vote. And certainly we encourage you to vote for Doug Doust as mayor of Troutdale. Thank you.
If you took away a star for every 1 million people who didn't vote, and a stripe for every 5 million non-voters, and a patch of blue for the 10 million people who didn't care, exactly what kind of flag are we waving?
Yo voto porque quiero hacer una diferencia.
Por el futuro.
Porque es mi deber.
Yo voto porque es fácil.
Porque la democracia funciona.
Porque yo quiero que mi voz se oiga.
Yo voto porque sí se puede.
The League of Women Voters makes history.
Our country would not be the same without their dedication.
Formed by women who organized to win women the right to vote.
It is now a co-ed organization.
Studying, informing, and acting.
Nonpartisan.
Grassroots.
Influential.
Taking political stands on many issues.
The League of Women Voters encourages all citizens to be informed and active in government. Join the League of Women Voters of East Multnomah County in making history today.
Welcome to Candidate Speakout. I am State Senator Lori Monis Anderson, and today I would like to talk to you about small businesses. I have invited Doug Jensen to be with me to tell us about how his business formed, why he's in Gresham, and how he has been doing through this recession that we've been in. In the legislature, we have passed a number of economic development bills, 40 in 2010 and over 20 in 2012. But I feel it's far more important if we take a look at a local business that is doing their business here. We've passed legislation for wine growers, we've passed legislation for breweries, we've passed legislation to provide incentives to hire veterans. We've passed so many bills, but when it comes down to it, we are in tough economic times, and we're slowly getting out of this recession. But let's talk to Doug Jensen. He is president of Jensen Manufacturing, located here in Gresham. He graduated from Oregon State, got his master's from University of Oregon, and I'm sorry.
Go Ducks!
He went to, got his master's and has been the president of Jensen Manufacturing since 1991. So Doug, just tell us how long you've lived in Oregon and where you grew up and how you got into the business.
I've basically been in Northeast Portland, which kind of is where we are now, in my entire life. I now live on Mount Scott, but I grew up on 4th Avenue, which is out close to Union Avenue. We moved from there to 42nd and Columbia Boulevard as a business, and 39th and Portland Boulevard as a home, and then finally we moved the company, which started on Union and Morgan, to 42nd Columbia, and then out here to Gresham. So we've been in business since 1927. I've lived in Oregon my entire life, other than my tours on active duty, and my time has always been, and also when I was in Eugene, obviously. But my time has always been in Northeast, and I'm a webfoot with, I got webs between my toes. It's the way I am.
Well, so Jensen Manufacturing, you said started in
27.
27. And so that was your grandfather?
My grandfather started the business. He actually worked for a company down in the Johns Landing area that the accountant for the company absconded with the funds from the company, and so the company closed down, and he was the foreman, and they sent him home with his tools and said, sorry, we can't keep going. And so he started Jensen Suburban Upholstery from that point on.
So what do you manufacture?
We manufacture restaurant and lounge seating, upholstered products. So it's like anything upholstered, but it's primary booths like for casinos, restaurants, lounges, that sort of thing. We did, as a matter of fact, right down the street, we did Heidi's down here on the corner, just down 4 blocks from where we are right now.
So as you've expanded your business, obviously you've expanded your business, what have been the barriers for growth?
The biggest problems that I think that we've had have been, to a certain degree, it's been regulation. It's been, and probably one of the things that irritates me the most is that we have a tendency in the city and in the state to try to go out and find some outside industry that wants to move here and give them tax discounts. But we don't want to give discounts for companies who have been here. I mean, if you've been here for 50 years or 75 years like we have, we don't get a discount for being here. But the company that wants to move here, they go, oh, hey, we'll give you a discount. We'll give you a tax break to move in.
That's a very good point, because what we have been doing in the state legislature is passing legislation that sets up grants and loans for businesses, particularly small businesses like you. And I think that we are now trying to address those businesses that are already here. And so thanks for pointing that out to us. Is there any other barriers?
The barriers that we have seem to be, and I don't mean to be down on Oregon, but Washington seems like it's easier to work with Washington because they've got a much cleaner system. You work with them, everything's fine. Logically, if I was to move my business, I would move it to Washington. I'm an Oregonian, and I'd have to move it to Seattle because that's where a lot of business is for us, is in Seattle. But I'm an Oregonian, and my family's in Oregon. I'm going to stay here. That's the way it's going to be, and I'll put up with some of the restrictions. But bottom line, we looked at years ago at moving over just across the river over to Battleground area, and had actually purchased a piece of property over there. Due to some constraints, we didn't ever develop there, and we wound up moving east because we wound up having a really good building out here in Gresham, and quite honestly, the relationship we've had with Gresham has been excellent. It's been a nice community to work with, and we've enjoyed the people here and the business community, the government community out here has been very, very good to work with.
Oh, that's so good to hear. It seems like then you export some of your product, or a lot of your product, out of state then.
Well, actually, most of our product goes out of state. Probably 75%, 70% of our product goes out of state. We do a large amount of business into the Nevada area, particularly into Vegas. We've got jobs we've actually got a couple of restaurants in Japan. We've got one in New Zealand. We've got one in Russia. We've got several in Hawaii. But our primary market is probably Oregon, Washington is the primary market. Since the recession hit, the slide down in our customer base has hurt us very badly because some of our customers who used to deal into Las Vegas haven't found that there's a market there that there used to be, and that's caused us to have a fallback in our market. But we've got enough of diversity that we've been able to sustain fairly well.
That's great. So the recession has impacted your business.
Oh, severely. At one point in time, we were down, in employment-wise, probably down 40% of our employees were on layoff. We've got all our employees back except for one who left and went to work elsewhere, and one who we currently have working part-time. but everybody else is working full-time and back on the system.
Well, that's so good to hear, and I hope that a lot of these businesses that have been struggling are going to be coming out of this. I often hear from small business owners that they have trouble finding skilled workers. How do you find and train your employees? Because I know your employees stay a long time. You don't have much turnover at all, so you must pay your employees well.
Well, we have two things. One is we're a union company and we enjoy being union. We establish the market on what union scale is in the Northwest because we're basically the only, to the best of my knowledge, we're the only remaining union company in the commercial market in the Northwest. And we have employees who have been with us since the 70s that are still doing upholstery work. Several of them have been, like I say, with us since the 70s. And we actually took over an upholstery company that was also located here in Gresham, which is one of the reasons we moved out here, that we have several of their employees that we took over are old union employees, and so now they're with us. And so we got a real good group of people, and they enjoy the benefits. We enjoy having the experience. As far as training people, we bring people in. We typically hire through a manpower agency of some kind and bring people in. It gives us two benefits. One is we see them, they see us. We make sure that there's a good fit before they get into the union, before we get into a contractual relationship. But once we're together, we train them ourselves, and they've been, like I say, we've got people that virtually every employee we have is trained either by us or by Alexander's, who was the company that was before us.
Well, that's great because we need to make sure that our workforce is very well trained for businesses, but you have the opportunity to do that yourself. Can you tell me how Oregon can be more friendly to small businesses to promote growth? I think you've already alluded to that.
A little bit of reduction in some of the regulations that go on, some of the restrictions, some of the paper filings that we have to do. And I got a deal in the mail just here in the last couple of days where it was I've got a contractor's license. Now, why I have a contractor's license, I really don't know, but that's okay. I've got one. But now I got a notification that they've passed a new regulation that says we've got to have X number of 100 hours worth of training to go on to have a contractor's license. I build a product, I carry it to a job site, and I drop it off. But I got to have a contractor's license to drop it off. It's a strange deal, but it's the way it is.
I think that we can, I think these types of issues, this is why I like to talk with small businesses, to point out specific issues that really are maybe a barrier to how you can perform your business. So you need to let me know that. I have to wrap up now, but thank you so much, Doug, for being with me. I think it's critical for those of us in the legislature to be talking to you more so that we can learn what can make the business environment in this state better so that you can have a very successful business. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Voting is a big deal and one of the most powerful things you can do. But deep down, people vote because...
I vote because it's my right and my responsibility.
Because if I want my voice to be heard, the first thing I must do is vote.
Because democracy only works if you participate.
I vote for more bike lanes.
For cleaner streams.
For more jobs.
For my family.
I vote to end wasteful government spending. Because I want a say in where my tax dollars go.
Because of all the women who ensure my right to vote.
Because together we can do great things.
I vote because it's easy.
Because I did last year.
Because it's my civic duty.
And I vote because I can. Register, engage, vote. It's in your hands.
Welcome to Election Speakout. Today it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Paul Working. Paul is on the Gresham City Council, has served for 8 years on the City Council, and is currently running for a third term. He is a retired banker, both commercial and international experience. And I'm Tony Pauler-Mini. I'll be the moderator today. And I'd like to introduce Xin Wen, who is a senior at Centennial High School and is the chair of the Gresham Youth Advisory Committee. Xin, you have the first question.
Yeah. So, Council Working, this is going to be your third term or two running for re-election. What were some of your significant accomplishments, like the first 2 years, and where do you see the city of Gresham going in the future?
Thank you. Well, I've lived and traveled around the world, and when I came to Gresham in 1990, I found that this was a great community, and I wanted to settle down and be part of it, and so I wanted to make a difference. And when I retired from banking, I got into onto the City Council as a result of my being on the Finance Committee. And over the past 8 years, we've covered a lot of different programs. Give you an idea is the city fiscal responsibility and accountability, which I've had a close tie-in with to make sure that the budgets are done properly, particularly when we got into the urban renewal area. That was something that I was particularly interested in following. The other thing that I've really enjoyed trying to bring together has all of the 4 cities here. There seemed to be kind of a lack of communication before. And we formed an intercouncil group that meets with all the different council members on an informal organization, and we share a lot of ideas. We've put together items such as the Federal Emergency Management Program for all of us. We've just done the roads review working with Metro Council. The other thing that I'm particularly proud of is that the change in the city as a result of the culture there, which has been brought on by the city manager, with a different attitude towards our citizens, that citizens are now customers, and we treat them accordingly. And I think the staff and people are now more responsive to a lot of the questions that are asked, or if they have difficulties, they can very easily come to us, and they know that. As far as the future is concerned, Jin, we are looking at the budget problem, which is going to be a very serious situation. I'll talk to that later. But I still want to continue to reach out to the community. I think that in a city of our size, now the 4th largest in Oregon, that we need to bring in other districts in the city. I know that from my walking in the community, people in the outlying areas just don't seem to feel that they're part of the Gresham community. And that's one of the things that I want to do, is go out to the neighborhood associations and also to pay particular attention to some of the outlying areas to encourage them to be participants in there.
Paul, you've had extensive business experiences as a banker, commercial and international. How has that business experience helped you in terms of making some of the fiscal decisions that you and the council have had to make during these lean times?
Well, it's the skills that I had in banking and over the years, I think were transferable skills. I must admit, when I joined the Budget and Finance Committee, that I found it a slow learning curve because of the difference in the accounting systems between the city government or federal government accounting period and the normal accounting practice that I was used to using when I was looking at loan situations and that. The limitations that were placed on the funding of certain designated funds within the city for wastewater, for sewers, for that. The money that could go in there could not be transferred to the general fund. So we're basically working with one fund, which was to cover all of the major services such as public safety, fire and police, and parks, and then to a lesser extent some economic. There's been a number of, particularly going back to the urban renewal, there has been some very complicated financing. I was participating in the financing that put the building together for the Human Solutions, which was extremely complicated. And there's been other things where my skills in financial background I've been able to bring to the council and be that support for the mayor and that side. So.
I know you were a manager of people that working under you, and that you had to watch that budget pretty carefully. Now, Gresham has the lowest, or one of the lowest, tax rates in all the large cities, in Oregon. With the recession, the Great Recession that came on in 2008, those receipts from property taxes were reduced. Yes, how did you and the city council deal with those lean receipts and still manage to provide basic city services?
Well, we are going through some difficult times, Tony, right now, particularly, and I'll come back to that in a minute, but Measure 50, which was enacted in 1997, was when there was a mathematic formula that was put on as to what the tax base was going to be for all of the cities within Oregon. Gresham got shortchanged on this because we got caught when a levy paid off about 2 days before the setting of that formula. So we ended up with $3.61 per thousand as our tax base.
Paul, how does that compare with Portland's tax rate?
Portland has a tax rate, for instance, of $7.20. Eugene is $7.01. Salem is $5.83. Gresham is $3.61.
About half of what the other large cities work with. How did you do it?
Well, that money is strictly generated by the property tax revenues. And as you say, before the recession, our tax base was pretty good. There was a lot of business going on, and our tax base was enough to cover our expenses. We are allowed to increase the tax rate by 3% per year, and that was keeping up with what we needed. However, we started to see the slowdown after the recession, and the drop-off in property taxes was very significant, to the point that we had to take a number of cuts just to survive through that general fund. There was also some stimulus money that was coming in that also delayed that to a certain extent. But it's really been through cutbacks, staff cutbacks. We've cut over 70 people in staff. There's been early retirements. The city staff are very good at looking for grant money to continue on. Labor contracts, a number of the contracts there they've frozen the cost of living. And we tapped into our rainy day fund. We did not have a reserve fund.
Well, there have been a lot of cuts. I know that, and people have been making money for the city through grants and stimulus funds.
Yes.
In the few minutes that remain, what do you see in the future?
Well,
what's going to come up? Are you going to continue to maintain providing services?
We have to do something. We've realized that. The mayor and council have decided that there will be the imposition of a $7.50 fee, which would be added on to water bills. We've run a number of town halls to tell people about this and to get the reactions. There's been a lot of good ideas backwards and forth. The council is going to meet again and look at all of these suggestions. Certainly the people who can't afford this at this stage will be working something to help them. There is an emergency fund that's available.
Okay, so you feel that the cuts have been made, the stimulus funds are drying up, and there has to be something done to continue to maintain police and fire services. Shen, do you have a question in the last minute that we have remaining?
I know you were one of the key figures in creating the Gresham Youth Advisory Committee, something that I have the honor of serving. What made you want to start a mini committee of students anyways? How do you see that benefiting the city and students?
I would think it's people like you.
Well, one of the things that I noticed on the council, in being on the council, was the lack of youth input into the city council, particularly a number of things, whether it be the sports park or the skate park or the BMXs or just in general advising us what was going on in the city. And as a result of that, I was able to get an ordinance through that created the Youth Advisory Committee. And that was a couple of years ago, working with a gentleman by the name of Harrison Braxmeyer, who was the one who forced me or helped me get that together, and it's been a great success. And
Paul, it's a very, very good thing that you got the young people involved. Shen had her first ballot today to vote, and I want to thank you very much, both of you, for coming here and providing us with information. If you'd like more information about Paul's feelings about certain issues, look him up on his website, www.paulworking.com. That's working, WARRKING.com. Thank you very much.
and one of the most powerful things you can do. But deep down, people vote because
I vote for my family.
I vote because every voice does matter.
Because my grandmother couldn't.
Because democracy only works if you participate.
I vote because if I want my voice to be heard, the first thing I must do is vote.
I vote for more bike lanes.
For cleaner streams.
For more jobs.
For the future of the arts.
I vote because I want a say in where my tax dollars go.
Because of all the women who ensure my right to vote.
Because I did last year.
Because it's easy.
I vote because it's my civic duty.
And I vote because I can. Register, engage, vote. It's in your hands.
The League of Women Voters makes history.
Our country would not be the same without their dedication.
Formed by women who organized to win women the right to vote.
It is now a co-ed organization.
Studying, informing, and acting.
Nonpartisan.
Grassroots.
Influential.
Taking political stands on many issues.
The League of Women Voters encourages all citizens to be informed and active in government. Join the League of Women Voters of East Multnomah County in making history today.
If you took away a star for every 1 million people who didn't vote, and a stripe for every 5 million non-voters, and a patch of blue for the 10 million people who didn't care, exactly what kind of flag are we waving?